Well, hello everybody. I first of all want to thank everyone for purchasing iMap 5.0. I'm doing these tutorials as an effort to help you walk through some of the simple features. I'm going to go ahead and do this demonstration on my own personal iPad so you'll see how this operates. Feel free to look at any of the tutorials at any time, or if you find something that doesn't make sense to you or you feel like I went too fast through the tutorial, please email me at steven.flournoy@gmail.com or info@imap4u.com. So we'll kick off iMap. This is the first screen that you'll see when you first run. What happens when you first run the application on the iPhone or the iPad is it attempts to find your location, see where you are. You'll notice that the GPS tracking tab is on at the top. You'll see the blue dot. If iMap is not able to locate you because you're indoors or for some other reason, maybe you're on an iPad that doesn't have a built-in GPS, it should pop up with a screen that will allow you to enter a manual location, so you can still set your starting point where iMap operates from in the event that you don't have a GPS in your iPad. So right off the bat, if you don't like the iPad to center and track on where you are, you can simply click on the menu bar at the top with a little arrow. It looks like a location tracker icon, and you can turn the tracking off. In my case, I like working with this so that I know how far my contacts are away from me, so I'm going to leave it turned on. Right out of the chute, the main purpose for iMap is to be a mapping application to help you take the contacts that you have either in your iPad or in an Excel spreadsheet and map them on a screen. So I'm just simply going to hit the map button. I'm going to tap on the row that says all address contacts here, and then I'm simply going to hit the map button at the bottom right, and in a matter of seconds the iPad will calculate all of those that are they've already been looked up on my iPad and show me the screen of where all my contacts are. Now from here I can zoom in very close. You'll notice now I have one person, this guy named Paul Jones, that's close by to me, or I can come over to the pins menu and tap pins and simply scroll through and see who's around me, noticing the mileage at the top right. Any of these different pins, you can tap on the little information circle, and it will scoot over and give you the information on each or any of the pins that you have located. Now, so that's simply how you would map your address book contacts. This is the main function of iMap. If you find that some of your pins are not mapping, you can come up to the gearbox icon, and if you'll notice at the bottom it says improper contact addresses. This will give you an idea of addresses that for whatever reason were misspelled, mistyped, or the search tool used by Google was not able to find them. So anyway, that gives you a feel for contacts that you may not have had. So once you're in that actual application, the whole purpose of iMap is to give you a visual representation. You can pinch and zoom, as you can see, and scroll in and down and see your different locations. You can also tap on any of these different pins and you'll notice that the contacts names come up if there is a contact name for each and every one of those. So it's very, very handy to see who's around you in this particular case. Now, one of the neatest features of this version of iMap is if you're going to be traveling to a different location. In this case this is Dallas, but let's say I zoom back out and I'm going to be traveling to Houston. One of the neat features is you can take any one of your given pins and you can hit the little information bar and you can say I want to set this as the current location. Once you do that, you'll notice if you come up to pins, now I can see everybody that's around me that's inside of Houston as a territory, so that it's as if I've already flown there or driven there and I'm in that direct location. So that's a pretty handy feature. I'm going to talk about the Excel mapping capability, but you'll also notice under the first tab you'll have Excel map files. I've already imported a color test, just a a test sample of pins, you can simply check this and hit map. And now what iMap's going to do is it's going to look up the remainder of these pins. You'll notice now I have colored pins. These are ones that I specifically targeted at a spreadsheet and did in a color fashion. So I'll scroll back out and show you these. I think some of them are in the Alaska region. And you can simply zoom in. So now iMap 5.0 currently supports up to 8 different colors for colored pins, which is one of the feature requests. So notice you can also turn off, on or off, any of these. So you can leave the Excel map files on and turn off the all address contacts, hit map, and it will simply go through and map. Notice all of the other pins have disappeared. So one of the benefits of 5.0 is you can pull in spreadsheets and decide to include them and map them on top of your existing pins, or you can simply uncheck them and not map them at all. Now another neat feature is if you're in sales, or if you're going to travel to see different customers in this location, say I want to go to Russellville and meet this person, I could simply tap the little airplane icon, and perhaps I'm going to go to Monticello and see this Michael Test person, and then I can at the bottom hit the trip manager icon, and what iMap will do is it will calculate the amount of time and the mileage necessary via Google to go see that individual person and make that trip. So this is what's called the trip manager. It is simply a tab at the bottom. You can tab back and forth between, and trip manager by itself has some pretty neat features. So above and beyond just showing you the mileage that you're going to have for going to visit this person, in the event that you were going to go see this guy named Michael Test and you wanted to stop by, if you hit the icon at the far right, you'll notice you'll get a drop down. This we have tied in Yelp, and you can simply, maybe you want to stay in a hotel nearby, or you want to stop by in a coffee shop, or you want to look and see what restaurants are close by so that you're going to visit. In this case, we'll say we're going to add Young's Barbecue. You simply tap that, it's added to the menu, and now it becomes one of the stops on your trip. You can also hit the edit button, and any of these you can move back and forth if you want to change the order in which you travel. Now once you have this map, you can also hit the route button, if you notice at the bottom, and when you click route, this will actually build a Google optimized route for the location. In this case, it does not like one of my addresses, so I would have to remove that and see where it is. Maybe it's the Young's Barbecue. I'll hit route. That was it. Sometimes some of the addresses as they come across from a third-party service don't always come across correctly. If that's the case, you'll have to remove them for this. But once this lays out your map that you can use in Trip Manager, once you have this just the way you want it, you can also hit the email button at the top right, and you can send this to a manager, another friend, neighbor, cousin, brother, or somebody that was important to you. Or maybe you just want to use this as a way to track what you did for the day, or perhaps for keeping track of IRS, for mileage for IRS purposes. So a pretty neat feature. So back in the Trip Manager, once you find a trip that you like, you can also save the trip. There's a save button. It'll ask you for a name. We'll just call this test trip. And if I reset this, it gets rid of all the existing routes that I had. I can come back into, say, old trips, tap on test trip, and there it is again. So you can make, if you have a common route that you happen to follow, or a route that's complicated, or some route that you have to remember, you can use this to save. You can also do simple things like checking the weather for the location you're at, or you can come in here and add different stops along the way via manual lookup. So let's look at this a little further. So for instance, in these particular cases, let's say that you we'll make one of these the center point. I'll come into this Lynn test person, so I'm going to make this my current location, and let's say that I want to change the color of the pins by touch. Any of these different pins, once you pull these up, you can simply scroll to the bottom and tap on the pin, and now notice the color is turned to pink. I'll pick another pin, and I can do this for each one, and if I tap it two or three times, I get a red pin. So now I can see my pin colors, and those will be updated, as you can tell, in the screen on the pin drop down. If you want to change the color of all the pins, you can simply tap on the color at the bottom. It'll give you an alert and ask you if that's really what you want to do, and now you have all blue pins. All right, so we've covered the map button, we've covered the pins button, we've covered the information. In the event that you want to use or you have a valid email address, you can simply tap email and it'll let you mail. On the iPhone, you can tap the phone line and it will actually call the number. Or if you want to have locations from where you are to a particular, if you have a valid address, you can simply say I want directions to here. In this case, I picked a pin. I'll go back, I'll pick a different pin to travel to. Let's zoom to the origin. I'll back out until I see somebody I can travel to. Here we go. I'll tap another one and I can simply say I want to go to directions to here, and now iMap will use the native GPS to build a route that you can use to travel, and you can actually hit start and it'll walk you through the native application that you're probably all familiar with. So I'll hit end and I'll go back over to iMap. Now, one of the most powerful features, I'm going to go ahead and turn all of these pins on. One of the most powerful features of iMap is the ability to use the filtering. So in this particular case, let's say that I'm a traveling salesman and I want to go to Houston or look at just the pins that are in Houston. Prior features didn't allow for this, but I built in a very, very powerful filter tool. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to say the city is going to be Houston. Hit enter. I want to show all where the pins where the city is Houston. I hit a button, I hit a map, and now here's all my pins that are in the Houston area, or pins that show with the Houston address. Sometimes you'll get random pins that look like they're mislabeled or misdone. If Houston is in the city field anywhere, the computer or the iPad will calculate it and leave that pin. So you may have to correct a few addresses if that's the case. Now, where this gets really, really powerful is, let's say that I want all of the pins in Houston to be a different color. So as you remember from before, I can simply turn these into, we'll turn these into pink pins. Now all of my Houston pins are pink, but if I turn my filter off, and I'm going to turn off my tracking so it doesn't keep jumping around, and I zoom back in, notice that here in Houston proper, I have a combination of pins. So all of the pins that are not pink, in this case we could assume are Houston. We'll check one or two of these. See, this is in New Caney, which is not in Houston. This is another one that's Fulshire, Texas, which is not in Houston. So very, very, very powerful. Now, if I have multiple pins, let's just say that I change these pins into different colors, or actually if I use the, yes, I have my color ones turned on. Let's say that I want to show only the pink pins. We'll type in pink. We'll set this to pin color. I want to see all the pink pins, and I hit map. Now I have a searchable capable of just looking at the pink pins. So what you can do with iMap is you can segregate your data, so you can pull it in from a spreadsheet or from your existing address book now, and you can sort it by just about any type of data. I keep track on some of my customers that have kids. So if I come down here and I say in the note field, I want to see all of the ones where maybe I've made notes where people that have kids. Now I can see I have a multitude of people that in any given notes, maybe I made a test user here, see kids sailing just as a test. It'll segregate those. Now once you have your data segregated, one of the really slick features is I can come up here and I can say I want to export just the pins that are shown. Under the information, you can see there's 86 of these mapped, and I can simply hit this and I can choose to export the iMap file, which is a file that another user can import directly with no editing into iMap 5, or I can choose to export a CSV file for Excel, and I can simply hit export contact, type a name and address, and it will actually send a spreadsheet importable file of just the map pins. And if you understand kind of how this operates, you'll see the kind of power and benefit that would offer you. And I'll cover that more in a different video. So you can turn your filters on and off. You can simply hit the clear all. It'll turn off all of the filters that are check marked, but it won't delete them. And then it'll allow you to go back and see all the pins. You can also simply come in here and you can delete any or all of these pins as you wish. The zoom, one of the neat features of zoom is when you have a bunch of pins, perhaps you want to zoom into a certain level, you want to see 5 miles away from where you are. In this case, this is the current location. I don't have that many pins around me, so I'll go out to 25 miles, maybe 50 miles, maybe 100 miles. There we are. And you see pins that are nearby you. One of the neat features, if I say I can go to zoom to origin, so if I've changed the origin from where I'm at locally, in the event that I was going to travel, I can zoom directly there. Or I can also zoom to annotations, and what this does is it recalculates all of the pins that are shown and zooms out so that you can see them all. The location tracker, I had many people that requested the ability to turn tracking on, and they want to see the pins move and see as your car or bicycle or however you're moving. They want to watch pins as they go by. That's what the tracking feature is for. Here I can change the start location as I showed you earlier, or I can set a manual location if perhaps I'm on an iPad and I need to, I don't have a GPS or don't have access to a GPS. That'll allow you to set your starting point. The export feature I showed you here in the envelope. Under the settings menu, there's quite a few different settings. If you're overseas or you happen to want to use kilometers, you can simply just tap and change from kilometers to miles. If you want to show the tips when you first installed, you hit show first run tips. This is my best effort to give you a quick and easy way to learn how to use iMap without doing video tutorials. Now I'm going to have video tutorials up there as well, but you can simply come back and look through those at any time. This company and annotations is simply a slider that changes the puts the company or the address in the little pin. So if you tap on a pin here, you'll notice now it has an address in there. If I say put the company in and I tap on the same pin, it'll change, and now you see what particular company there is listed. Pin legend, if you want to build a legend for your pins, you can simply hit the edit tab on any of these. It'll come up and ask you for a name, and you can set and build your own legend. This was a feature that one of my other users asked for. Accurate distance is simply designed. Some addresses are nearby or close to an address, but they're not very accurate. Maybe it's a P.O. box and they're only going to give you a facsimile of a location where you are. You can turn this on and it will take those pins off that don't provide back a direct definite distance, and then again you can look at the ones that didn't map properly for one reason or another and perhaps correct those in your system. The other button at the top right, it looks like a circle with an arrow. That is a refresh button. If you want to have iMap redo all of the different pins and you want to look up all of the records, this is where you would go for that process. You also, at the bottom right, you'll notice there's a satellite view. I actually have some users that use iMap for mapping out where their customers are, and they take pictures in an airplane, and the guy asked for a satellite view in this particular case. You also can do hybrid view, or most people use regular view. So this is just a quick view of iMap. I hope that it's been helpful. I will do a separate tutorial on how to do the imports and work with Excel, but I want to thank each and every one of you that's taken the time, and I hope iMap works out for you. Please give me a call or write me at info@imapforyou.com or steven.florno@gmail.com. Thanks again.